everyone. Welcome to our spiritual get together for the month of September 2025. The topic that was given by the sage is abiding in the reality consciousness. So, a very interesting topic. But when I flip that around, see, when we say abiding in the reality consciousness, is there any time when we don't abide in that reality, is the question. So if we put this title in perspective, what is actually meant is that while we are active as a human being, when we are active as an image in this world of space and time, then are we actually conscious, or are we actually aware of the presence of this reality, right? My mind goes to two of my own gurus, and everyone is actually familiar with them. Ramana Maharishi always said that you should abide in the reality self, right? So abide in the reality consciousness, and then you function and carry on whatever you need to do. Use your mind, use your intellect, use your emotions, whatever physical activity you've actually got to do. But you see, at present, generally, when you see, humanity at large, no one actually really bothers about knowing or living in the presence of the reality consciously, but we are just lost in what our desires are and what we actually want to acquire or achieve, right? Then the second outstanding example is of Rishi Master Byansa Duno, and the Rishi always said that abide in God, right? He said that whatever I do it for God, and he taught the principles of love, wisdom, and truth. Now, in this triangle, you question yourself, how much of this unconditional love do you have? Your love is conditioned, it is conditioned by your desires of what you want to achieve, right? Wisdom is actually knowing the reality, or the very title, abiding in that reality consciousness. And truth also is actually that. Truth is not that you keep on speaking truth and you say, oh, I'm very truthful, right? You see, truth there is that consciousness is always actually absolutely unconditionally loving and truthful to the personality that it has become. You see, this is what they are talking about, truth. Anyway, so you see, the two masters, uh, Sage Ramana and Rishi Master Vyansa Duno, are pointing towards that the very title that we are actually discussing today, abiding in the reality consciousness. Now, one of the things that we have discussed so many times, and I've given it in lectures and talks as well, is that you got to actually look at things practically, right? Not keep on thinking about things mentally, making mental pictures, being emotional, then saying, I'll do yoga, I'll do meditation, I'll read this book, I'll follow that scripture, I'll follow this guru. Just first of all, look at one thing very clearly, right? So basically, you see how the view actually appears in front of us, right? Now, no one denies the presence of the view, right? The view is actually always there. And look at the beautiful thing. You see the individual personality which is there, the view actually appears in front of you. You follow? You're not depending on someone else for the view to appear. This view is the visual screen of consciousness. right? Now, the question which arises is that who has become this view, right? The only answer is that consciousness has actually become this view, right? Now, when we look at the view, right, you see that when you are conscious of the presence of the view, can you see that being conscious, the view is actually, even space and time is actually in the view, and you are actually going beyond space and time. That is how far this view goes. This gives you a hint of what your real nature is. Now, if consciousness has become the view, what that actually means is everything that is rising and falling, when you trace it, right? Many great sages, especially Shankaracharya and Shankaracharya's guru, Gaudpada, you see, they have actually looked at it intellectually, and they have actually argued, and they have said, okay, you trace the chain of cause and effect, and cause and effect. Like my parents gave birth to me, their parents gave birth to them, and so on. If you keep on tracing, even if you follow the evolutionary blueprint, you see the entire chain of effect and cause, or cause and effect, ultimately ends. So basically we will say, oh, this view is the cause of everything. If the view is actually not there, then this circus of images, gods, the symbolic gods, the sun, the Jupiter, the Mars, the galaxies, the central sun, and so on. So these are all images. So if the view is actually not there, that means these images will not be there. Now, you see, that means that the view is the cause of all these images. The view disappears, the images disappear. So what is the cause of the view? Isn't consciousness the cause of the view? Because consciousness, you see, had to present itself as this view in which there is space and time, and that is why the images can rise and fall in this view. So, the scriptures and the great sages take us to this point that look, whatever you are actually seeing, you see, these are all appearances. And that is correct. Even when we talk about this mobile, we talk about, about 30 people, 31 people present in this spiritual discussion. You talk about your thoughts, you talk about your feelings, you talk about gross objects. See, all these are, look at it very carefully, they are all appearances. Correct? What is the definition of an appearance? That which comes and goes and is not actually permanent. No, we get fooled by appearances. You see that, I am Anilji, this is Katiaji, this is Rahulji, and so on, right? Because we fall for the shape and the functionality of that shape. So, but looking behind that, isn't it actually consciousness which has changed itself or disguised itself and is actually coming forth as these appearances, right? So they say that if you realize that I'm not going to be fooled by how this, image, or how this appearance appears to be or looks like, right? So then actually you realize that basically this is not an image, this is consciousness temporarily, coming forth, or, appearing as this particular image, right? So now you have gone beyond the images to the reality or the truth of the images, and actually now you establish yourself, and you are actually living what we call as abiding in consciousness. But it's very interesting. You see, today in the morning when I was sitting in meditation, I mean, these were the 2 points which Sage Ramana said that this is what you actually discuss, right? Now, you see, even when you look at these appearances as being nothing, but actually consciousness, look at it very carefully. This is also a thought, and this thought you're trying to convert into an experience. Correct? And then converting this mental image, which is a thought and a feeling, right, into an experience, and then you're trying to live in that experience. So you're making an effort, right? And what you will find is that you will slip in this as well, though this is the second closest thing to abiding in consciousness. Okay? So now let's go one step further. Look at this very carefully. A good example, which has been given in so many queries is that, say, for example, consciousness is the sun, right? This, I'm just taking a symbolical example, that this physical sun, say, is actually consciousness. Now what happens if this physical sun is actually consciousness? Then what happens is that the light travels from the sun. Correct? So this light reaches earth, and in that light objects are illumined on earth, and we see the objects. Correct? So there is the sun, which I'm saying is consciousness, and then there is this light of the sun. Now look at one thing actually very carefully, right? You see, this is the key actually. This is what they call as silence. And this is what they call as no teaching is actually required here. Because the thing that you ignore actually is that you are conscious of every image. You're conscious of the view, you're conscious of your thoughts, you're conscious of your feelings, you're conscious of all your past events, you're conscious of your physical activity. Tell me one thing, can you do actually anything without the being conscious? Right? So, how do we become conscious? Because there is this light of being conscious, or the light of consciousness, which is actually coming out from you in the physical form. Look at it very carefully and just stop there, right? You see, you are conscious of whatever you want to do. You want to listen to the satsang, you want to do yoga, you want to make efforts to actually realize. But look at this very carefully. You see, there is a light which comes out from you, which is actually the light of consciousness. You follow? Now, what happens when you simply become an observer, right? When you just only silently witness, right? Then you are in oneness, or you are in tune with the light of consciousness, right? So, in the end, after all your efforts, this is where you will return, and the true master will actually tell you, oh, this is what I want you to practice. You follow? I just want you to pay attention, or observe, or witness whatever actually is coming and actually going, right? That is nothing. There is no teaching actually there, because that's the very light of consciousness, and in very simple words, that is being conscious. No, when you start that activity, or when you start tuning into the presence of this light of consciousness, now remember I said that there is the sun and there is its light which is actually coming. Similarly, there is this consciousness and there is this light of consciousness. Both are though the same thing. Everything is the same. But look at this very carefully. In this light, you become conscious of whatever you want to be conscious of, which is the light of consciousness. So when you tune in to the presence of the light of consciousness, deliberately, then gradually over time, actually what happens is, because that light is coming from consciousness, which is the ever present reality, what you find is that even you see being that witness, or even paying attention to the presence of the light of consciousness drops, and that is when you are actually abiding, you see, in that consciousness. Many people actually ask me, well, what is my experience? You see, call it fortunately or call it the grace. I don't actually undertake any witness. I've done all those sadhanas, right? But all that I see is just simply the presence of this consciousness. That's all. You know, whatever activity may be actually undertaken can be undertaken, but this never goes. You see, the presence of consciousness will always actually be there. And Ramana Maharishi himself said, he said that when I had that near death experience, I found that the body is dead, but I am alive. So he said that this I that is alive, which is none other than consciousness, is not affected at all by personal karma, reincarnation, by the coming and going of the bodies, by coming and going of this entire world of images, right? So anyway, in this short introduction, that's the closest that I could take you. I'll ask Sylvia ji now to conduct the satsang, followed by a summary by Vijay ji. Sylvia ji, can you please continue?
Thank you, Anioji. I mean, after this introduction, really, what is there more to say? I don't know. In truth, the best way that, to me, we could undertake this satsang is if we spend an hour in silence. But we will talk, and I hope that whatever is shared is of benefit for everyone who needs it. Because to tell you the truth, on this call, there are many who really don't need this satsang. And I don't know, I have been asked to speak here. I haven't even prepared for today. I don't have a PowerPoint for you guys or anything, so it's kind of a slightly different satsang today. So all that I could do really is take you through maybe my personal experience so far, and then we can maybe share or answer some questions as well. So, to abide in reality consciousness is actually effortless, because, as Anuji was explaining until now, that's all there is, right? So when you look at it, even that witnessing, to me, that's Sakshi Bhav we speak all the time about. That also is it's an illusion, right? Because in order for there to be a witness to something, there should be something to be witnessed, right? So that is duality again. But you can say even non-duality is an illusion, because it's all a perception of the mind. And in truth, everything just simply is. And that is you, that is consciousness. So no effort is really needed. However, for majority of us, it's not even to reach there, there's nowhere to reach, but to realize this, and then most importantly, to remain in that awareness, it takes effort. And so I should speak a little bit about my personal maybe journey. I have been seeking or searching almost most of my life, but I had personally a very big painful experience about 8.5 years ago, and that really was the real turning point for me, to the inside, you know, to finding out who I really am. Even before that, I had some urge, like I read all these scriptures which I'm not versed in, right? But I have read um, about Buddhism. I have read about the Quran. I have read the Talmud. For the Jewish people, I've read uh, Bhagavad Gita, all 18 huge tomes of editions of Srimad Bhagavatam. Um, you know, whatever I could get my hands of, because I was searching for that truth. And my search really has started because in my life I happen to live in very in places that uh, were so different. For example, I come from a communist country, right? I lived there in my youth. Then I moved to a Western country, and the other half of my life was lived in a very from a very different kind of point of view, right? Also, I had many friends who were Jewish, for example, but also I was able to visit many Arabic countries, see this other, how to say, contradistinction. And I just couldn't understand why people around the world had this, is what it seemed a terrible hate for each other, all these wars happening, all these problems in the world, all this pain. And I was trying to understand what is so different about the different people that we feel this way or we do these things. Because I always felt if I look around, I see simply people. I don't see someone necessarily from China or for Pakistan or from Bulgaria, or I just see people which have the same mm, feelings and thoughts, right? People who, if something bad happened to any of us, regardless of religion or nationality or race, if let's say, God forbid, you lose a very close one, a child, a parent, a loved one, uh, or if we hurt ourselves physically terribly, we all just suffer, right? Nothing else matters. We suffer the same way. And in the end of this whole experience called life, we all die. And when you die and you find these bones there, it doesn't say that person was super rich or that person was a president of America or that person was a beggar on the streets of, I don't know, India, really, it doesn't matter. It's all the same. So that's how my journey started. I had also one dream, which I know it was not a dream, and I will share briefly because that happened a long time ago in 2011, and I still very clearly remember this because it was so significant to me. So I was walking on a street in the middle of the night in bad weather, rain, and I was very, 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 very afraid in my dream. I kept walking, looking over my shoulder, right? Like is someone walking behind me? I was in fear. And as I was walking like that, I got to a point in the road where it split into two. And I stood at that point and I had to choose which way to take, left or right. And suddenly, instead of taking left or right, first I heard a voice behind me. And that voice simply said, "Remember." After that, I just flew up in the air rather than taking left or right on that road. I woke up that night after this dream. I woke up, I sat up in my bed. It was so vivid, so, so vivid. And all I was thinking was, what am I supposed to remember? It seems that it's something very, very important, but I have no idea what it is. So that kind of pushed me more on that search. Then about 8.5 years ago, I experienced a big drama in my life, like something very, very painful. I'm not going to share it here. It doesn't really matter because all of us go through something really difficult in life eventually. Um, and that is, I feel, the biggest blessing for all of us. It lies in that when we feel that our world perhaps collapses, and what is the point of the whole thing? That is when we really start looking deeper, I should say, looking deeper to find out what is the point of this entire thing. So, yes, that is how my search started. And I know that that's how the search of many, many souls starts. Then, after that, you start practicing different practices, reading lots of books, listening to videos, meeting lots of people, going to places of pilgrimage, meeting gurus, etc., etc., right? So, doing some sadhana in whatever way, form, or shape that might be, right? And it's all good, it's all right. There isn't right and wrong here because this is the personal experience of each jiva with each personality or clown in the view, right? So this is the way we go until one day, after I have tried so many different practices and read thousands of books, I can say easily, because I still was not free. I still had no understanding, no personal experience. A storm would come in life and would shake me to the core. And I thought, like, this has been like 20 years or more of my life, and I don't feel like I have achieved anything, really. And I couldn't understand why. Where am I going wrong here? Obviously, something isn't working, right? Then, in a very funny way, as there are truthfully no coincidences, I was introduced to Anyoji, and that's where things took clarity for me, right? Took clarity. Um, and I understood one thing: this consciousness that is everything and all of us at the same time. To abide in it, we only and simply need to surrender. Or this has been my personal experience. Why? Because if this consciousness is everything, how on earth a small personality could ever understand it? It's somewhat incomprehensible to the mind, to the personality. The personality is very limited. It exists within the space, the time, within the view that our mind keeps projecting, although comes still from the light of consciousness. But this is how we perceive it within our ignorance, right? But if it is everything, how could we do something better or even wrap our mind around understanding this entire thing? We can't. This is the truth. We can't. So the only practical way, the only way that is left is to surrender. Yes, we practice this, but sometimes it's hard even to witness. You witness something that in your perception is horrible, right? And then immediately all our bodies are activated, our thoughts, our feelings, everything swings in full motion, and then we are jolted out of that center, right? But if we truly surrendered, then things just work in such a perfect way, in such a perfect way. I have been witness to that many times in my life. Unfortunately, I am now aware of it uh, because I've seen it so many times. Mm. So I just want to share where the satsangs of Anilji and two particular ones have been of immense value to me personally, for abiding, for understanding, whatever. First of all, there is that satsang, huge satsang on evolution. And this is not easy. It's huge material, and for many, many people, it's like so overwhelming. And many people think, oh, why should we even know all these things, all the epochs, sub-epochs, etc., etc. It seems a bit hard for the mind to wrap around. But what I took out of this, and that was priceless for me, was that everything is already preordained by consciousness. It is decided, right? So, because people say, what about our free will, for example, right? Where is our free will? Uh, we have some free will, perhaps. Like there's a saying, if you want to lift one leg, you've got the free will to do or not to. But do you have the free will to lift both legs at the same time? So once I understood that that's how things run, I mean, if these epochs are already there in the Akasha, right? They exist, and that's where, let's say, clairvoyants tune in and bring their information out, or let's say Rudolf Steiner or big, souls like that. It means that it sits there and you can get access to it. It's already there. So if it's already there, are we going to change that? I don't know. I don't think so. This helped me to surrender because that massive um, consciousness already knows far better than a small soul could ever, perceive. So that helped me to surrender. The second satsang was the satsang on the subtle bodies, right? So, our physical, etheric, then astral, mental, bodic, atomic. I found by experience that knowing very well how this mechanism works, the mechanism of who we really are, that helped me tremendously in difficult times. How so? I will share with you. Again, and very recently, I experienced a very, very shaking event in my life. But this time, because maybe of all my practice, I was able to, like, I went through the emotion, don't get me wrong. It was a shock to me, but I was able to very quickly step out of it and start to witness what is happening, to observe it. And so I could see how this mechanism works because I knew now how it works and I saw it in action. Here, an image came. Immediately, thoughts bombarded me. After these thoughts, a massive train of feelings ran over me. And then that kind of came down to the physical reality of me suffering, right? But because I knew that this is how it works, I was able to get a quick check of myself and thought, all right, this is just consciousness. This is how things work. This is what is happening to me, to the personality, the clown Silvia. But if I step out, I just watch this like a movie, and then I don't have suffering. I don't have suffering. I have a deep understanding. And then the belief that this is the best thing that can happen to me, to the personality at this moment. See, I also have this great faith. This comes from Master Rishi Ben Saduno because I study his many lectures, like thousands, right? And he always says this thing: you should know that whatever is happening to you at this moment is the best possible thing that could happen to you at this moment. The best possible. Even if it is that someone very close passed away, which usually hits us the hardest, right? And we cannot understand why it had to happen, whatever. We are just drowning in our suffering, in our pain. But knowing this thing, I trusted this higher power that if this is the timing for this to happen, that is how it had to happen. There was no other way. There was no a better way. This is the best thing that could happen in the moment. And yes, now at this point of time, I cannot understand why. I cannot see the bigger picture, but I have this faith. And that helps me to go through and just stay in my center, in my center. And it helps me see the big picture. It helps me to see how often it's as if we have this big white screen, and on this big white screen there may be one black dot. But when our attention goes to that black dot and focuses there, we don't see the entire white screen. We only see the black dot. So again, I learned to step out and just observe and trust. This is the best thing we can do. So that takes practice, that takes effort until, one day we are just there completely, effortlessly, and then all the experiences in consciousness, everything looks beautiful, looks in its place, looks perfect. It's got its purpose, perfect purpose. And that's freedom. I think that is pretty much all I have to say. So thank you all for listening. I hope this was beneficial to anybody. So thank you for the opportunity.
Okay, Sylvia ji. Well spoken. Would have been good if you had given those real examples as well. But yeah, very good. So you've been through quite a bit, but you touched the core, you know. Of course, you see, it's all about Ramana Maharishi taught either find out who am I or you just surrender, you know. But you see, that surrender never comes, you know, because like I've always joked that I was on my way to enlightenment. I only found myself in the way. You remove yourself, and the light of consciousness and consciousness flows. Vijayji, can you please summarize?
Yes. Om everyone. Uh, the topic is a wonderful, beautiful topic. Abiding in reality consciousness. Anilji gave a beautiful background to the meaning of abiding in reality consciousness. Silvia ji actually gave her own personal experiences, which were very, very nice and very good. And it was the surrender pathway, which is also one pathway that Raman Maharshi has sort of advocated. Uh, but looking at abiding as reality consciousness in the manner we wish to see ourselves abide in that, not as just a sentence, as in abiding in reality consciousness, but how do I, as the limited individual who presupposes that I am this individual, this personality, and I want to abide in reality consciousness. So, first of all, we impose limitations on ourselves to imagine that we want to abide in reality consciousness and then struggle desperately to try and be reality consciousness, which we already are. As Anilji just mentioned about, all you need to do is you find that you are on the in the way. You are reality consciousness. You're fighting to breach that reality consciousness. But where can you find it? Because all that is required is the I that is there in the way. Like, I want reality consciousness. I is the one that comes in the way, the personality, the ego. The wanting is the desire, desperate desire to. You'd remove that I, which is the ego and the want, you already are reality consciousness. So, this wanting desire is only a crucible on which, and it appears to be of value, the desire, because of this I. That wanting will just disappear if the I is vanquished. To reveal what is already there, you are that reality consciousness. But this entire process to, so we create the self-imposed limitation and then want to be limitless when we are already limitless. So this imperishable, ever existent reality which we already are, we superimpose this perishable personality as I, and then want to transcend that to be able to imperishable. It's a bit of a paradox, as it were, that you're fighting against the same thing to try and achieve something which you already are. But then that process has to be followed because that personality has already been created, and one struggle is struggling to achieve that. But once that understanding or the knowledge becomes firm in the mind, having the knowledge of this is very, very critical and very important on the pathway. As was mentioned, that many books were read, you go through the whole process and you collect all this knowledge, but that knowledge is going to help one to uh, traverse the pathway to a certain extent, because when the mind is so predisposed with innumerable accumulation of thoughts in the mind, it has to be brought to a state where the jumping from object to object, flitting from subject to subject is kind of narrowed down. Otherwise, this so-called what we call as the path of inquiry becomes very difficult, because even if one's trying to do that inquiry method, when the mind is so outgoing and so predisposed to trying to jump from one object to the other with all these struggles and tribulations in life, it is not possible. So Raman Maharshi's teachings and the teachings of the highest, like Ribu Gita, Ashtavakra Gita, Avadut Gita, all these are the highest teachings. But the mind has to be first thinned out. And to do those things, one has to then do all these various other practices. You have to work towards being a selfless personality, as it were. You have to be a selfless personality, so that when that selflessness, you're acting in a selfless manner, the ego slowly comes down. This is a practical methodology to progress on the path. And once that selfless actions are being done with a sense of pure love, knowing from a knowledge perspective at least, that this entire creation, this so-called creation, we call it as a creation, this manifestation is all the same. We are all one. We have read that. So knowledge base. So use that as a stepping stone, as a benchmark to be able to progress and start loving everyone. One can use that technique. So that selfless love, selfless action will help to get the mind slowly thinned out. And then various other practices, such as you're doing yoga, or you do this or that, but to tune the body, not for exercise per se. You can do exercise if you wish to, but to try and tune the mind and the body. So when the mind is tuned and the body is tuned, they act in unison together, and the mind slowly, the vagaries of the mind start decreasing. When those things happen, there is something called a mala. Mala in Sanskrit, it means the dirt. If you want to see yourself in a mirror, and the mirror has got all the dirt, mala on the surface, one has to wipe out the dirt to be able to see one's reflection in a mirror. So by these practices, all these malas are slowly removed. And when those you can when this dirt is removed, one can see clearly in the mirror the reflection. The mind slowly gets thinned out, and when it starts getting thinned out, automatically that very same instrument called the mind, which one is using as a personality, will go in automatically by itself with little effort. And when that happens, inward journey starts. The veil, the last bit where the veil of ignorance is there, avarana it's called, veil of ignorance drops. And when that veil of ignorance drops, and one finds that one is that changeless, ever existing reality functioning as a changing, perishable object within that imperishable, changeless, life continues, things happen. But one is not that. The functioning is happening from the macro. At the moment, functioning is happening as the micro. So when functioning happens from the macro, there's a far greater oversight, and functioning just happens. Then all is oneness. As Ramana Maharshi said that there is no other. Who is the disciple and who is the guru? The disciples used to consider him as the guru. But for Ramana Maharshi, there was no disciple, nor there was a guru. Was there a guru? Because there was only oneness. That is what then is termed as reality consciousness. Then there is this, what one was wanting, which is abiding, doesn't remain because there's no wanting to abide. One is already reality consciousness. That's it. Then there is only silence. Truth flows. Life happens. Deeds get done because there is no doer there. The doer, which was the personality, is gone. The events will happen, actions happen, deeds get done. There is no doer there. That is reality consciousness functioning as the imperishable, as the changeless, in the perishable, in the changing manifestation. That is the truth. You can't, this is the absolute and total truth. And that is what this entire so-called personality is there existing as, and that is the only requirement. Everything else just flows. The hard work, the effort, all that is so-called required only to go through this, to realize one is that reality consciousness. Everything else, all this other business, side business in life, actions and all, it happens, just goes. One has to only work towards this. Let this be the only and only goal of the aspirant's life. When that is there, that imperishable has no choice but to help this notional perishable object to pick that notional perishable object out of the so-called perishable, for the perishable, notional perishable person to realize that I am that imperishable. Then the game is over. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnaat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om.
And that was very beautiful, Vijayji. I just want to add one thing. Look, see, if the prime requirement to actually abiding in the reality consciousness is that you must have what Vijayji mentioned towards the end, you must have a burning desire actually really to achieve that. You follow? When that burning desire is actually there within you, then actually what happens, it is Vijayji's experience and experience of so many who might be present, Neeruji and others. You see, this grace is only given by consciousness. No image can give it. It comes from inside you and it opens up and it shows you, look, there's no other truth other than this. This is actually the reality. Once if that grace falls upon you and this opens up, after that it doesn't matter at all. You will never lose the presence of this reality, whether you make any efforts or you don't make any efforts. Anyway, because Vijayji's talk was so touching, it almost brought tears in my eyes, because this is what happened with me, and then only I could really actually help others, because once it revealed that what you are searching for is this ever-present changeless reality consciousness. That's it, actually. You see, it's so pristine, so beautiful, actually. I mean, it's that's all that you can put in words. Being an image, how far will you go? Okay, look, we'll throw the floor open, and everyone, please put in whatever your queries are, whatever your experiences are, whatever you want to talk about. Please feel free, because we are recording, so continue to talk. Maybe I'll ask Prashant ji, if you're there, if you would like to say something. Everyone, please demute. Remove your, the speakers. Prashant ji, do you want to say something? No. Okay. We'll go to Jeff. Jeff, are you there?
I'm here, Anuji.
Okay, yeah. What would you like to say?
Not as for now, but I will raise a question later.
Okay. All right. Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah. Somebody speaking? Yeah, please. Neeruji, are you there? Okay. We'll get.
Can I raise a question? This is Neha.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, please. Anyone, just feel free. Yeah.
I was just wondering while listening to Silvia ji, that the idea that I cannot see that there is a larger plan, but I cannot see it, and so I surrender because consciousness knows what's happening. So I was only thinking about this, that is there a larger plan at all? Because uh, it seems as if only because I'm saying that when you connect with consciousness, it is just the truth of the consciousness, which is beyond the cause and effect of time, that feels like the truth. And that kind of truth does not necessarily have a plan for you. Like there is no, I don't know, is there really a big picture always? Because often you look back at your own life and you see that, okay, some things look like, oh, they happened because they were meant to happen. Some things just seem like chance, that I had two options. Like, I could have gone to this college or that college and done that course or that course. And if I had not done this and done that, my life would be completely different. So it's possible that many possibilities are always there. And there is not, and things happen. But that simply that the main point being that is the idea of surrender coming from this, that I don't know the larger plan and so I surrender, or rather to say that the surrender comes from the fact that you see consciousness as truth and you see how it is everywhere, and so you surrender. So I would just think this kind of question, that's all.
Yeah, Sylvia, do you want to reply?
Yes, I'd like to reply. It's a
Okay.
beautiful question. Yeah, thank you, Neha. Ji, you know what? This massive plan or that evolution, even that we were looking at, for the entire humanity, etc. It is still an image. These are still images, right? Once you go past that, there is only consciousness. So then your second supposition was more right, should I say. Right, because it doesn't come anymore from the perspective of the personality, right? When it comes from perspective of a personality, and we still haven't really, we do not see ourselves as consciousness and everything, then best course of action is for that personality to surrender, right? But if you have gone beyond images, then there is no such need any longer. It's for who to surrender to whom or to what, right? So I think that's my answer.
Yeah. Niruji, are you there? Niruji is not there today. Huh?
Hello?
She
Yeah,
was
yeah.
there, but I think she has left or something.
Okay,
Uh,
yeah. All right, yeah, that's fine. Vijayji, do you want to answer that
Uh,
query further?
no, I think Silvia ji has responded pretty well to that. It's
Okay.
basically there's surrender is something that is only done by the mind and as the personality. And so, who's to surrender to whom is the answer. There is no one to surrender. We are only, the thing is that we are only arrogating ourselves with the responsibility that I am the personality and then say, okay, I'm here, I'm surrendering. That I
Okay.
itself is non existent. So, who's going to surrender? That is the crux of this whole thing. So, that itself is a process to be able to work towards where we realize that there is no I there, no doer there. That's the sadhana.
Yeah, okay. Nehaji, I want you to look at this very deeply and actually practically try and understand this. You see, what we discussed was that all these appearances which are there is nothing but consciousness appearing as changing reality, right? So look at this very carefully. Actually, the highest and the ultimate truth is it's not the personality which is actually experiencing, and we did this in one of our satsangs, that what is consciousness experiencing now, right at the moment. Consciousness, as Nehaji, is actually experiencing this query and the answer to that query. Similarly, you see, this world of space, time, and images is a very mighty intelligence within itself. So, in this is one of the things. That's why Ramana Maharshi taught about this surrender, but it's actually consciousness itself having forgotten its true nature and thinking it is actually the personality, then experiencing, surrendering back to its own true nature and absorbing itself there, right? When you look at it, that this is consciousness experiencing whatever it wants to experience, that is actually witnessing, right? I don't know whether you fully got it, but look at it from that perspective. I've spoken from the perspective of consciousness, not from the perspective of the personality. Okay, Hari Om ji, would you like to come in? Are you there, Hari Om ji? Okay, yeah. Yes, what would you like to say?
We have a Mahavakya called Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma.
Right.
everything which exists in this world is Brahman. So
Right.
that clearly brings out that whatever is existing in this world is consciousness. So we have to see from that point of view, if everything is consciousness, तो उस विराट को फिर समर्पण ऑटोमेटिकली हो जाता है।
Right.
वो इतना विराट है कि आपकी हमारी समझ पर्सनैलिटी की समझ से बाहर है। हम समर्पण किसी हायर पावर को ही करते हैं। नॉर्मली वी सरेंडर टू अ हायर पावर। So once we see that the reality consciousness is infinite, so it is easier to surrender, and that reality consciousness knows everything what has happened till now, what is happening now, and what is going to happen in future. So
Right.
everything when it is known to it, we are just an actor and acting on the directions of the director, which is the soul consciousness. So we have to look at the director, and actor seeks his guidance to perform the acting on the stage. So that is how I look at it.
Okay, yes, it's quite beautiful. You know, when you are saying that everything is actually Brahman only or consciousness, that's a statement. But isn't it actually that is the truth rather
Yes.
than a statement? Practically, isn't that really what it is? You see,
Yes.
you know, Rishi Master Byansaduno or Ramana Maharishi or Shankaracharya, you know, or Gautam Buddha, this is what they realized as the living reality. That's why they shifted. And they taught from that platform rather than, you know, the surrendering platform. Right. Okay. All right. Anything else?
Anilji, there's
No.
a message being put by Asha ji. She's saying the
Right.
burning desire is the mumukshatva. When you reach that stage, that's when you want to surrender.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Would you like?
she's referring to
Yeah.
uh, the Vivek Chudamani, where you know that
Yeah.
Shad Sampatti and the six
Correct.
qualifications, pre-qualifications that have to be attained to be able to do that, and that's the purification process. Those six qualifications,
Mm-hmm.
Sama, Dama, Uparati, and all that, up to Mumukshata. Mumukshata is where, which is that burning desire has to be there. But that burning desire, which you mentioned, Anilji, is the same burning desire which is required to be able to ensure that that changeless is forced to get that changing to
Correct. Yeah.
transcend itself.
Yeah. So isn't that really the sadhana to have that burning desire?
Exactly.
If the mind is scattered, then it will never happen.
That's right.
Right. Yeah. Ashaji, do you want to say something if you're there? Bhavinji seems to be putting up a lot of messages. Bhavinji, do you want to speak for a few minutes? No, he's not listening.
Anilji,
Hello? Yeah. Yes, Bhavinji. Is that you? That's
Anil,
Amarji.
Amarji,
Ah.
Amarji.
Yeah, Amarji, put your video on, please.
Anilji, I am I just cannot put the video right now, but can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Okay, please talk. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Anilji. As you know, I'm overseas, and I had this great fortune of listening to all the people, and what Sylvia ji said today. I only want to put it in very simple words: surrender, let it go, stay in the presence, enjoy the peace and tranquility, and otherwise the rest is, we can talk of the concepts, and all these great people have, left a lot of, so-called wisdom. But when we come down to the practice, this is what I think, what I just mentioned in the last 4 words. Thank you, Anilji.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Poonamji, are you there from Bombay? Do you want to say something? Okay. So some people
Yeah.
have
Anilji, may I?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. I just want to say that I have really enjoyed the session today. Thank you very much. And I have only recently begun studying this subject. It's very new to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
Sorry, can you introduce yourself? I haven't seen you before.
Pardon?
Oh, you're Asha ji, is it?
Yes. I'm Asha Bajaj.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
At Bangalore, yeah.
I see.
And
Okay.
Prashant's brother Tushar sent me this invite, and I'm really obliged to them. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thanks. Okay.
May I also say a few words?
Yeah, please. Is that Binduji? Yeah. Yes, Binduji.
Yes. Thank you so much for giving me 2 minutes. It was a pleasure listening to this Silvia's talk today and Vijayji's summary also. But to the Neha's question, when she's saying we cannot see the macro thing, then how do we surrender? But macro thing is always there. That scene is always there. Everything is because of that only. Changing and changeless, both are the same reality. So it's only when we start understanding and when there is grace, then you want to surrender. But actually, we cannot do anything on our own. Everything is so beautifully and perfectly made that even the breathing and anything in the body that is heart is beating, everything is so perfect. We cannot do it ourselves. So actually, we must understand and surrender. Even if we can't see it, it is always there behind the scenes. That is what I see.
Yeah.
I don't know. You can correct.
Yeah. No, that's fine. Yeah. Anything else?
No, thank you so much.
Okay. Okay, Vrinda ji, do you want to say something?
I would like to say something, please.
Oh, yes, Poonam ji. Yeah, come on. I asked you before. Yeah, please. Yeah.
Namaste to everyone. Yeah. Sir, observing a change in myself since I'm having satsang with the respected Ishwar Lambaji and with you, sir, many times. I'm observing that now the way the things are going on, it's not giving any kind of pressure, any kind of feelings or thoughts in my mind. I just do the things to my mind. I just do follow up. Like instructions are coming on my head. I do what comes to my mind. Just I'll give the example to you. We had Ganpati celebration in Maharashtra here. It goes for 10 days. So my friends, they keep Ganpati and they invite us for the puja and all. So just the thought had come, Ganpati Bappa is coming. I'll make prasad. So making prasad means I combined all the items required, ingredients required. It has come to 5.5 kgs. And without any pressure in my mind, or it was just a pleasure, rather, I should say. I made myself everything, spent 3 hours in the early morning and made laddus maybe more than 150 or so and started distributing to all. Jahan bhi Ganpati Bappa ki puja thi, I used to go and giving to my friends, giving to my neighbors, giving to my servant, giving to everyone. And the feeling dualness has gone, sir, now. I don't feel my maid is something else or I'm something else. My relatives are something else, I'm something else. That kind of feeling I'm getting is really pleasure giving. And now every act done by me is coming in a very spontaneous manner. I don't plan, I don't think, like my mind has become, it has frozen kind of thing. But the moment the thought comes, I implement it. It can be making something, giving as giving to someone, or it can be making dahi vadas of 4-5 kilo dahi ka dahi vada banayegi, and then I'll give it to chal apne neighbors ko, apne koi jo bhi dimag mein aaya, chalo usko de ke aap usko de ke aap. I don't know why these kind of thoughts are coming, and the feeling of oneness has come to my mind. I feel myself really great and blessed that the grace is falling through you and through Lambaji, who used to had. He's even now he's having almost everyday satsang with me, and he's telling me कि अनिल अपने गुरुजी से सर्टिफिकेट तो उनसे ही मिलेगा आपको, आप उनसे क्यों नहीं सत्संग करते हो? देखा कि कॉन्शियसनेस जब करेगी तो भाई सब सत्संग हो जाएगा. तो कहते नहीं, don't get afraid of this Guruji because he's also the same, he's also the one, but still he's telling always कि certificate तो Guruji को देना है, that I cannot give you, but fine, you are on the path, you are on the right track.
So the certificate is given by consciousness, not by an image.
Need to come through you.
And that certificate is permanent. If I give you, it will be impermanent. Okay, yeah, continue, please.
One more example I'll give you, that nowadays I don't know why the feelings are coming, and I'm just acting without any question mark on that. Generally, I drive myself, but sometimes if I have to go to some crowded place, parking problem is there, I go by rickshaw or go by Uber and all that. So
Right.
any person, when I observe, is chewing tobacco, मुंह में कुछ तंबाकू या कुछ तो भी खा रहा है, वो नशे की चीज है, वो मुझे मालूम है.
Yeah.
So I will simply say कि देखो, please don't eat this. This is not good for your health. This is
Yeah.
going to harm you. You should eat something which is good for you. So
Yeah.
I will, and if I'm going by rickshaw, तो रिक्शा वाले का पैसा 60 रुपये or 70 rupees has come. I'll give him 100 rupees. I'll say कि देख बेटा, ये 30 रुपया जो है ना, this I'm giving you. You buy chocolate, you buy that elaichi, you buy song, that you eat. But please don't eat this what you're eating, which is harmful for your health. And yesterday's experience, I would like to share my very interesting one. I went to buy something to a grocery shop,
Yeah.
where different kinds of grains were there. Nashnika grain, Dorka, and Bajra and all that. So I wanted to get different type of grains. Then I found there three members who were giving as a helping hand there. They were chewing, but उसको देखते ही मेरे दिमाग ठनका immediately. I said कि भैया तुम्हारी उम्र कितनी है? कहता 22 साल. मैंने कहा what's your name? He said Shiva. मैंने कहा oh my God, you are Shiva, you are Lord Shiva, and you are chewing this tobacco which is not good. चल पहले थूक के आ जा. Please go and spit it first. तो डॉक्टर सर, मैंने उसको कहा तो वो तुरंत बाहर गया और स्पिट करके अंदर आया. फिर मैंने कहा आगे थोड़ा सा गई, फिर एक बंदा और सुरेश, उसको देखा मुंह चला रहा है. मैंने कहा सुरेश आप क्या खा रहे हो? मैडम खाता हूँ. मैंने कहा प्लीज इट्स माय हम्बल रिक्वेस्ट, यू गो एंड स्पिट इट फर्स्ट, देन आई विल टॉक टू यू. तो उसने भी जाके थूका इमीडिएटली. देन आई सेड कि बेटा आपके घर में कौन कौन है? कहता मेरे एक बेटा एक बेटी है. मैंने कहा बेटा कितना बड़ा है? देन ही टोल्ड मी ही इज सम 14 years old. मैंने कहा you want him to chew tobacco the way you are chewing? Is it good for your health? He said no. मैंने कहा फिर क्यों खाते हो आप? मैंने कहा कि देखो मेरे कॉलेज में एक बंदा था जो कि तंबाकू खाता था, उसको माउथ कैंसर हो गया एंड ही डाइड. उसके छोटे छोटे 2 बच्चे हैं जिनका कि मैंने पेंशन का किया, फैमिली पेंशन का प्रोविजन करवाया. बट यू शुड नॉट डू दिस विच इज नॉट गुड फॉर योर हेल्थ. तो उसने कहा हाँ मैडम नहीं खाऊंगा. फिर क्या हुआ, उसी शॉप को मैंने ना सर मिल्क दैट कैडबरीज ना 2 बड़ी बड़ी कैडबरीज ली. एक 60 रुपीज का था, एक 70-80 रुपीज का. 2 कैडबरीज उन 2 बंदों के लिए लिया. एंड एज्यूमिंग कि एक आध बंदा और मिल जाएगा मुझे, आई टुक 2 more pieces, so 6 pieces I had taken. और जब बिलिंग वगैरह हो गया, देन आई वेंट टू शिवा एंड आई वेंट टू दैट सुरेश, एंड देन आई सेड कि देखो मैं चॉकलेट दे रही हूँ बेटा, आपको इसलिए दे रही हूँ कि आपको आज के बाद तंबाकू नहीं खाना है. आपको खाना है तो ये चॉकलेट दिया है, आप इलायची खाइए या सौंफ खाइए, विच इज गुड, और चॉकलेट यू कैन हैव, इट्स ओके. तो मैंने कहा एक और तुम्हारा कोई भाई बंधु है ऐसा? तो कहने लगा हाँ वो येलो शर्ट वाला है मैडम, वो भी खाता है. तो देन आई वेंट टू दैट पर्सन and then finally I gave those chocolates and made them realize it's not good. So this is something what is coming to my mind spontaneously. I'm acting. So this is all consciousness play, as already it has been said many times that we are already reality conscious. So we are doing what consciousness makes us do. We are one.
Correct.
So I'm really grateful. I'm grateful to you and grateful to Lambaji and even to Silvia, Vijay. With a very interesting satsang today, enlightened us, and I really pray to consciousness to make us on this path and spread this message amongst more people to understand this concept of happiness, true happiness and peace of mind. और सर अभी एक बात और बोलूंगी मैं. अभी ना मेरे को
can you talk in English, because we've got some people who don't understand Hindi, so just keep the flow in English, and we are recording this as well. Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah.
And one thing more I'm experiencing nowadays that I'm not getting any kind of sufferings now. I do get sometimes the pain, headache to kabhi nahi ho. I never get headache, but I do get sometimes the backache, or I'm feeling tired, I'm not feeling very comfortable. The freshness is not there, but that doesn't stop me from anything, because sufferings have disappeared altogether. I don't have any kind of sufferings. Mental peace is there, and physical weakness, physical pain sometimes it just disappears after some time because I'm not paying any attention to that. So that is again the grace
Beautiful.
and
Yeah.
discussion in true sense.
Yeah. So I would give credit to Ishwar Lambaji because he is illuminated and I think he is guiding you. You know, Ishwarji, are you there? Or probably he has left. Yeah, it must be pretty late in USA. Okay. All right. Thank you. Yes, yes.
You to a great extent because you are his Guruji and you are our Guruji too.
Everyone is actually the same. You understand? You
Ishwarji
actually got to
is there.
realize this. If you live
Yes,
in this
Ishwar
guru
uncle is
student
there,
relation,
sir.
yeah, sorry,
Yes.
who's called? Yes,
Yes, thank
Ishwar
you so
uncle
much.
is there.
Ishwarji, are you there?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay, it's all right. Okay, Poonamji, are you finished? You're done?
Fourth thing,
Okay,
shall I
all
add?
right.
Yeah. By the grace of God, again, the consciousness has given me a beautiful skill of creativity. I'm very creative. I can't sit idle. I keep on doing something or the other. The shirt I'm wearing, I put these flowers on that. This is also made by me. So I do things and keep on gifting people also. So that also
Very
gives
nice.
me
Yeah. So
after the
so
retirement phase.
you
Retirement phase of 40 years have given me the time to look into the skill, the talent, the qualities, what I have to utilize it and spread happiness amongst all. To how many I
very
can.
nice. Beautiful.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. Anyone else would like to join in? You know, Katia, you want to say something if you're there? Okay.
I would like
all
to
right.
thank you for the insights. I have many things going on in my head, but I would like to share them maybe personally later. Thank you.
That's okay. Is there anything you want to share with everyone?
I want to share that it's interesting to see and hear other people having those insights that that remind me of the glimpses that I have. So it's very touching, and
yeah,
a lot of people.
Yeah. Sorry, you continue.
Thank you.
Sorry, continue.
That's what I meant. That we're many people, but since we share similar glimpses of what we're going through, it feels at the same time personal and fulfilling. So thank you, everyone.
Okay. All right. Suresh Acharya ji, are you there still? Okay, Suresh ji is also not there. Okay, what we'll do is we'll go to Elaine and probably we'll Sudhir ji. Do you want to say anything? Sudhir ji is there?
Namaste, Anil ji. Namaste.
Yes, Sudhir ji.
Thank you for the session, Anil ji. Thank you, Silvia. Very nicely presented, and Vijay ji concluding it very beautifully. Actually, I recently saw a clip, video in which it was describing about surrender by giving the example of Draupadi. Draupadi, when she was getting disrobed by Dushasana, Krishna didn't come until she completely surrendered both her hands without trying to protect herself. So until you completely surrender, and your eye doesn't go away, he doesn't come to rescue you.
So when are you going to surrender? You're putting a question to me every day.
When my dies, when the bird my or I,
that's
the
right.
ego.
Yeah, but if consciousness itself has become the ego, when is it going to die?
Never.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
You. That's it. Thank you.
Oh, all right. Suzanne, Susanna, you're there?
Hello.
Susanna. Yeah. Hello, Susanna. You want to say something?
No, I want to say thank you for the talk. It was beautiful, and from Silvia and Vijay. So yeah, it's very lovely. Just the surrender bit is a bit difficult for me to understand, but I can't quite get my head around that yet.
So we'll have a satsang on surrender then. Just send me a message, right? Okay.
Surrender is like, okay, everything, you have to accept everything. That's what I see.
Yeah.
I don't know, accept whatever is.
Well, that is surrender, you see. If you accept whatever is, that is surrender, isn't it? You're not putting your own will there or your own personality.
Saturday.
Elaine, you want to say something? Elaine or Theo?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sylvia. It was lovely to hear you and see you, and everybody as well on the screen. I find it really interesting, surrender, and the one way I can identify it for myself is if I do let go of those expectations, like it's a letting go of an expectation of whatever it might be, and if I can let go and surrender, then I feel a sense of expansion, and I feel a sense of relief and a sense of excitement, even that there could be an adventure somehow attached to letting go or surrendering to my preconceived expectations.
Yeah.
And it's sort of related to fear for me. If I'm afraid of an uncertain outcome because I haven't got control, I have that anxiety, then it's related to a fear that I might not be able to cope. But if I can just surrender to that consciousness that it'll take care of things and I'll be looked after in the best possible way, then the relief is very, very powerful for me. And it's sort of like a weight is taken off my shoulders. So I think it's a wonderful topic, surrender and grace. That's all.
So maybe we will have that soon then, surrender and grace.
Anuji, can I ask for something?
Yes, Jeff, I was just going to come to you before we close. Thank you, Elaine. Thank you. Yes, Jeff.
Thanks, Elaine. So I think my question is about living in consciousness and clarity. Often we see that many realized masters, gurus, sages, they have this clarity and like almost like all knowingness, like what's going on in the world, the wisdom that comes with living in the consciousness. And I guess it's, from today's satsangs, I guess it's because they are living in the consciousness, not their personality. They live in the consciousness, and then we know that the outer world is projected by our own consciousness, right? So that is why they have this, because they know they are living in the consciousness deeply. Hence, the outer world seems just a reflection of what's inside, and hence they have this all-knowing clarity that our ordinary human like myself, we don't have. So my question is that the case? Is that in theory, is that why we see the wisdom that comes with the realized masters? That's question number one. And question number two is, I'm like, let's say Anyanji yourself, or people who have realized or living in self-abidance, do you guys ever have doubt when it comes to everyday life? That's my question.
Vijayji, do you want to answer? Then I'll give an answer to that.
Yes, Jeff, the thing is that when that clarity of vision is complete, and when that can only happen when there are no doubts. That's it.
Sorry, can you repeat it again?
So it's the other way around.
So
the
he wants you
clarity
to-
of vision
Yeah.
is complete and fully blown is absolutely complete, the clarity of vision, that the operation is happening from as the changeless in the changing, and the functionality is not happening as the changing, as the limited, but this entire limited personality, as it were, is part of that changeless overarching totality, and that functionality happens as totality in this changing. When that clarity and that vision, which is beyond experience, because the experience is only in the mind, experience has to go beyond experience, because everything is an image and an experience within consciousness as the changing. But as soon as that clarity of vision is crystal clear, functionality happens as from the changeless as the changing, and no doubts are there. And when these doubts are removed, that clarity is actually very, very clear. The vision is absolutely clear. So there cannot be any doubt. There is no question of any doubt. If there is a doubt, then there is no clarity of vision.
So can I say that doubt is actually happening at the level of personality? And
yes, exactly. That is because the ego is there, because the I is there. The I creates this I and the other, and the conflict is there. The moment that conflict is there, there's always doubt. When that oneness is seen with that clarity of vision, there is no other, there's no fear. No doubt, no fear of anything.
Thank you, Vijayji.
Yeah, Jeff, I want to take you back to our first discussion that we had before we started the satsangs. Remember what Yoga Vashisht said? Self-abidance is not attained either by following a Satguru or by meditation or by the study of scriptures or by any other means. But look what Vijayji said. So then Yoga Vashisht said, self-abidance is only attained by the clarity of the student's understanding. So that understanding can be given by someone who is already living in that state because he or she knows what they are talking about, right? But even that understanding doesn't lead to abidance, because the clarity has to be attained by the spiritual aspirant, by his own experimentation, by his own direct experience. And that's exactly what Vijayji said. He can say that because he lives in that state, you see, he doesn't have to make any effort, so it's very easy for him to answer. But somebody who is actually not there, no one actually reached that state without that clarity, and that clarity doesn't come without the right effort, right? Now, when you actually arrive there, the second question which you put is that, is there actually doubt? When you actually see that doubt is nothing but an image rising and falling in this view, and it's none actually other than consciousness, these are actually words, but you directly actually see that and tell me which doubt is there which is not resolved. Which issue is there which is actually not resolved by nature, right? So what happens in that state is you just go with the flow, whatever is. You follow? So the inner state, that inner peace remains unbroken. You follow? Okay. Angie ji, you are there. I didn't ask you. Do you want to say anything before we close?
Yeah, thank you. I think it was a beautiful satsang.
Yeah.
I like the resting in abidance, like that takes the effort away, and the resting makes it easier to experience or to be it.
But you're always resting in abidance all the time, isn't it? Isn't that your direct experience now? It's been quite some time.
Yeah.
That's why you become so quiet, you don't even have telephone conversations now. Okay. All right. Okay. All right.
Sir, can I say something? Okay. Hold on. Sir,
Yes.
can I say some?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, sure. Then we'll close
I
after
just
that.
want to
Okay. Yeah.
just want to share two aspects of experience which I've been having for some time now. That when you surrender, two interesting things I have experienced. That you can almost see or feel that there is silence behind every action that is happening. It's all just coming from consciousness. From the silence, everything is just happening. There is silence and the action simultaneously. And secondly, at times when you're doing something or you are making an effort towards something, it doesn't happen the way you have planned it, or you think it will happen, this is the result. You can almost see it changing, and then you say, okay, so this is how it is supposed to be, and you accept it. And it's a very interesting experience, that how things sometimes take a turn, and then what eventually happens, you feel, wow, this was nicer than what I thought I will achieve. So it's quite interesting that way.
Yeah, but you are actually living in that state of illumination, because the queries that you put to me, there's really nothing more really to add to that other than just tell you that, look, you are there and that's what it is, isn't it? Okay, all right.
So
Vijay?
just a small,
Yeah,
I just want to share two lines, which
yeah,
I'll then translate into English for everybody's benefit. I
yeah.
really love these two. It's like, उसको गाने दो अपना गीत मेरे होठों से, और मुझे उसके सन्नाटे में गुनगुनाने दो. So let that consciousness sing its song through my expression, my body or my lips, and let me enjoy along with the consciousness.
Okay, you wrote that, did you?
No, this I read somewhere.
Okay. All right, yeah,
And I
send
liked it very
send
much.
it to me. We'll put it up in our that group, the Sage and Rishi
Okay.
Transmissions group, right? We'll put your
Okay.
name under it, what is it, compiled by yourself, right? Okay, all right. Vijayji, do you want to say just one or two lines and then we'll close?
Uh, all has been said. It's now one has to the idea is to just for each individual to remove that idea that one is the doer. That's the only thing, and that's the only goal.
Okay. All right. Thank you everyone for having given your precious time to attend. I hope it has helped you in your spiritual quest to abide in the reality, which is our ultimate purpose of being on earth. And most probably we will have our last satsang for this year, as we always do in the second week of October, and then we'll take a break. And then after October, then the next one will be probably be in February. So till then, I wish you all the very best. Thank you for now.